We all kind of navigate this really complex world of relationships, right?
Mm,
And sometimes it feels, well, easy to get caught up in just the everyday flow.
mm, totally.
But have you ever, like, stopped and really thought about what's underneath? What makes a connection truly, flourish?
Yeah, it's often more subtle than we think. It's not just about avoiding the big blow-ups.
Exactly. It's these consistent little things that build that strong base.
The quiet stuff.
And that's actually what we're digging into today. We've been looking at insights from someone who focuses on real talk about relationships, personal growth, that kind of human stuff.
Very relatable.
Our mission here is to pull out 5 key things, 5 indicators that might help you get a clearer picture of your own relationships.
Yeah, just some food for thought, really.
Think of it like a check-in, maybe some perspective, whether you're, dating, married, whatever stage you're at.
And it's not about judging, is it? It's more about awareness, maybe helping you foster deeper connections.
Spot on. It's about self-awareness for you, the listener.
Helping yourself.
So let's get into it. These 5 cornerstones of a thriving bond. We'll be looking at mutual respect,
Uh-huh.
open and honest communication, at real, solid trust,
Oh, yeah.
space for individuality and growth,
For sure.
and finally, how to handle conflict, but with kindness. Okay, first up, mutual respect. Sounds basic, maybe.
It sounds basic, but there's layers to it, isn't there? It's how it shows up in the small things.
How so?
Well, it's not just being polite on the surface. It's genuinely valuing your partner's inner world, their thoughts, feelings, boundaries, even, and this is key, even when they're really different from yours.
Right. It's easy for disrespect to slip in subtly, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Things like maybe always interrupting them or just dismissing their worries like, oh, you're overreacting.
Yeah, that stings.
And those little things, they add up. They can really wear away at the respect over time.
That really hits home. So thinking about it for yourself, do you feel like when you share an opinion, especially one that maybe goes against the flow in the relationship, are you actually heard?
Mm-hmm. Heard and considered.
Yeah, not just like, okay, noted,
Yeah.
but really taken on board.
Yeah.
And what about your goals, your dreams?
Hmm.
Are they supported genuinely?
Or do you sometimes feel they get subtly, put down or just brushed off?
Those moments can be really telling, can't they?
Yeah.
About the level of respect.
And another big part of this, does your partner respect your time, your need for space, both physical space and like mental space?
Oh, that's a good one.
Boundaries. Exactly. Honoring those boundaries shows they value you as an individual separate from the relationship. It's a very practical way respect shows up.
Absolutely. And like our source points out, respect doesn't mean you always agree. That's not the goal.
No, not at all.
In fact, being able to disagree without being disrespectful, that's actually a huge sign of a healthy, mature connection.
Couldn't agree more. When you can navigate those differences respectfully, it shows you value the relationship itself and your partner's feelings more than you value winning the argument.
Yeah, it's about understanding, finding that common ground,
Yeah.
even when you're not on the same page initially.
Seeking to understand, not just to be right.
Okay, let's shift to the second key. Open and honest communication. This feels like, well, the lifeblood, doesn't it?
It really is a game changer. Think about that feeling of safety.
Safety. How do you mean?
Knowing you can actually say what's on your mind, your vulnerabilities, your needs, like, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I need some alone time tonight, or even raising a concern about the relationship.
Right, without worrying about a massive negative reaction or
Well,
defensiveness.
that feeling of, walking on eggshells, that's a huge red flag that open communication isn't really there.
Yeah. So in a healthy dynamic, you should feel okay saying, this is how I feel, or this is what I need.
And trust that you'll be met with some empathy, some willingness to understand, not judgment.
Definitely not judgment or shutdown.
And the source makes a great point. Communication is way more than just talking, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Listening is huge.
It's maybe even more about the listening. Are you really present when your partner speaks? And do they give you that same attention?
Tuning in, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Yeah, and trying to get the feeling behind the words, the unspoken stuff, and then responding with compassion. Things like maybe summarizing what you heard. So it sounds like you're feeling X, just to check you got it right.
Active listening, yeah. It makes such a difference. It's not just broadcasting your stuff.
No, it's creating a real dialogue, a back and forth where both people feel like, okay, they see me, they hear me, validated.
That validation is key.
Absolutely. Thoughtful responses, acknowledging their feelings, that builds the safety, the trust, that keeps the communication flowing.
Okay, which brings us nicely to number 3, Trust. Real, solid trust. This feels foundational.
Oh, it's the bedrock. Absolutely. Without trust, the whole relationship just feels shaky,
Hmm.
insecure.
What does that feel like, though? That trust.
It's that deep down confidence, isn't it? That your partner genuinely has your best interests at heart. That they're reliable, they're honest, they'll do what they say they'll do.
It's knowing they've got your back, even when you're not around.
Yeah. It means you're not constantly feeling the need to, like, check their phone or second guess where they were or what they meant by that comment.
Right. As the source puts it, it's about believing in each other's intentions. Giving the benefit of the doubt, maybe?
To a degree, yes, but it's built on consistency, isn't it? Trust isn't just granted, it's earned through reliable actions over time.
That makes sense. It builds that feeling of security, peace of mind.
And our source highlights something important here. Trust isn't about expecting perfection. Nobody's perfect.
Right. People mess up.
We all stumble. But it's about that general pattern of reliability. And crucially, if trust does get broken, is there a real commitment to earning it back? Through genuine actions, not just words.
That willingness to repair, yeah.
Mhm.
That's huge.
It shows commitment to the relationship itself, doesn't it? And a willingness to learn and grow together, even from the hard stuff.
Okay, indicator number 4. This is one I think sometimes gets overlooked. Individuality and growth. Staying within the uses.
So important for the long haul. A healthy relationship isn't about two people melting into one blob.
Right. Not the blob effect.
It's about two whole, separate individuals choosing to support each other's paths.
Exactly. You shouldn't feel you have to give up your friends or stop pursuing your hobbies or shelter your personal goals just because you're partnered up.
Quite the opposite, really. A supportive partner should actually cheer that stuff on.
They should love you for who you are now and be excited about the person you're becoming.
Think about it, your individual growth, your experiences out in the world, they actually bring energy back into the relationship.
That's a great way to put it. Keeps things fresh.
Yeah. When both people are learning and growing and pursuing things they care about, they bring new ideas, new energy back to the partnership. It stops things from getting stagnant.
And our source says, when you're both genuinely encouraging and celebrating the other person's evolution, that's a really powerful sign of lasting love.
It really is. It means you find joy in their successes. You're not threatened by their growth.
You're not feeling left behind or like their growth is somehow taking away from the relationship.
Exactly. You see it as something that strengthens the bond, actually, because you're both becoming more together and individually.
All right. That brings us to the 5th and final key, conflict. Specifically, conflict with kindness. Now, nobody loves conflict.
Let's be real, no.
But it happens, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much unavoidable in any close relationship.
Absolutely. And maybe even necessary sometimes. Like a total lack of any conflict might mean things aren't being addressed. People are avoiding stuff.
Good point. Avoidance isn't healthy either.
So the real difference in healthy relationships isn't if you disagree, but how you disagree.
And the source draws a really clear line here. Unhealthy conflict feels like war.
Right.
There are winners and losers, and emotional wounds left behind.
Yeah, scorched earth tactics. But healthy conflict, it might still be uncomfortable, sure, but there are boundaries. Respect is still there. Consideration.
That's the key difference. So in healthy conflict, you're not going to see things like name-calling.
No. Or the silent treatment for days.
Yeah. Or emotional manipulation trying to guilt-trip them.
None of that. The whole goal shifts. It stops being about hurting the other person or proving you're right and they're wrong.
So what is the goal then?
It's genuinely trying to understand their perspective. Why do they feel that way? What's going on for them? Using I statements helps here. I feel hurt when X happens instead of you always do Y.
Focusing on the issue, not attacking the person.
Exactly. Approaching it with curiosity, like the source says, trying to see their side.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Even when you're upset.
Yeah, it takes emotional maturity, doesn't it? Managing your own feelings, really listening, communicating your needs respectfully, kindness, even in disagreement, remembering you're fundamentally on the same team.
Your team, even if you disagree on the play. I like that. Okay, so let's just quickly recap those 5 keys we unpacked. We had mutual respect.
Valuing each other as equals.
Open and honest communication.
Feeling safe to share.
That solid foundation of trust.
Believing in their intentions, their reliability.
Freedom for individuality and growth.
Supporting each other's personal journeys.
And navigating conflict with kindness.
Understanding over winning.
So if you're listening and thinking, yeah, my relationship has a lot of these qualities, well, that's fantastic. That's a really encouraging sign you've got a strong foundation there.
Definitely something to appreciate and nurture.
And look, if you're listening and thinking, maybe some of these areas need a bit of work in my relationship, please hear this. It's not about blame or criticism.
Not at all. It's just awareness.
Right. And awareness is always the first step, isn't it? The first step towards maybe making things even better. It's an opportunity.
An opportunity for reflection, maybe for starting some gentle conversations with your partner.
Yeah. Using these indicators as maybe a framework to see where you could both put in some effort for, an even stronger connection.
Exactly. Identifying areas for growth together.
So as you go about your day, maybe just hold these 5 ideas in mind. Reflect on your own connections. What resonates? Where could things be perhaps a little stronger?
Gentle reflection.
And just remember that core message from the source we looked at. Take care of your heart and take care of each other.
Simple but powerful.
It really is. Holds a lot of wisdom, doesn't it? For building and keeping those connections that truly matter.